What is up, guys? Welcome back to episode 56 of Chatter from the Cheap Seats, the podcast where we talk about sports, life, and everything in between. I am Jack. Sitting across from me is my co-host, Sammy, and we're going to talk some baseball, we're going to talk some basketball, and we're going to talk some football. Sammy, how are you doing today?
I am doing very well today for a few reasons. One, Cubs spring training is on, and I'm not watching it because it is not on TV, but I have been watching. There have been some games on MLB Network, some games on ESPN, some games on YouTube that I've found and streamed. So I've been watching a lot of that. Very excited to see the Cubs back in action. And another reason I'm doing well is that I know not for Jack because he goes to a different school than I do, but we have no school today, tomorrow, or Wednesday, or asynchronous work, which we kind of manage our time how we like. So that's good. Got some free time next few days. Very cool. And another thing, I have baseball, like real baseball in person. I'm going to practice tonight, later today. So, a lot of things, man. Baseball's back for the Cubs and for me now. And no school. So I'm doing pretty good. Jack, how are you doing?
Sammy, did you just admit to illegally pirating baseball games?
I don't know. I don't know. No comment.
Okay. I'm definitely not going to call the police right now. Hello, Sammy is pirating games.
Hey, I'm
That is
pretty
a
sure
serious crime.
we've all done the same thing. I think
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if it's illegal to be like. I don't know
I
what.
think it is illegal, but I mean,
Who knows?
everyone, it's not like,
Who knows? Yeah, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Yeah, let's talk about something that should be illegal because for all this guy has done for their franchise, Kyle Rudolph, aka Big Country, according to Football Reference, has been released by the Vikings. He is a guy, he's put it all on the line for the Vikings, two-time Pro Bowler. He's been a fantastic leader in that locker room for so many years. And to see him go out like that, which is kind of how 99% of football players go out, they either get cut or at the very, very end of their career, they get traded to a team that no one remembers them for whatsoever.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I mean,
so it's
sad,
sort of
Jack.
sad to see.
I agree, and I've watched Kyle Rudolph my whole life. He's been in the NFC North. I've watched him 2 times a year, every year, and you really see how much this guy's impacted that franchise. He's been a staple there through the good, which in Minnesota there hasn't been too much great teams past few years, and through the bad, which there has been a lot of bad teams, but he's been there, and he's had some huge moments. I remember I was watching the Saints Vikings games 20 or beginning of 2020 playoff game. He had that huge catch to seal the game for the Vikings and send them to the divisional rounds. So he's been a huge, huge part of that franchise and a solid option as well. And he has been regressing. He is taking up cat space, but it gets to a point where when there's a guy that means that much to your franchise, you can't do that. For me as a Cub fan at baseball, that would be like if the Cubs cut Anthony Rizzo. And not signing a contract when they're a free agent is a whole different thing, right? You can do that. I think that's fine. But to terminate a contract for a guy like that in your franchise, that was my first thought. Just like you, Jack, when I saw that this happened, I was like, that's cold. So, yeah, maybe it'll make sense football wise and money wise, but it's always a shame to see a guy that means so much to a team be cut and treated like that. It kind of hurts me, even though I'm not a Vikings fan.
Yeah, it's sad to see. Another one that isn't so sad to see for me personally is Golden Tate being released from the Giants. And he had some nice plays. He made some nice catches, but overall, he was more of a headache than a benefit to Daniel Jones. So it doesn't really bother me. I'm happy he's gone, and hopefully we could sign a Kenny Galladay type in free agency.
Yeah, I mean the Lions are Lions. Excuse me. The Giants are definitely seeming like they're going to want to pursue maybe one of those big wide receiver guys in the free agent market. Allen Robinson has been talked about, although it's looking pretty likely. Glad for me that he's going to go back to the Bears either with a franchise tag or a new contract. So I think Galladay's an option, but this Golden Tate move isn't too significant. He wasn't really a huge part of that offense, and I don't think it's not like Kyle Rudolph where he's been with you forever and you're sad to see him go. Golden Tate's been a guy who's been floating around the league. He's been on a lot of teams. He was with the Lions. He was with God, was with the 49ers. I don't even remember. He's been with a lot of teams, and I don't think this is too significant of a move, but there isn't too much going on. And what is going on, actually, Baker Mayfield, quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, saw a UFO this week. Very interesting stuff. And let me read you what he said on his Twitter, or at least part of it. Almost 100%, my wife and I saw a UFO drop straight out of the sky on our way home from dinner. Now, Jack, what's going on here? I think you're the UFO expert here.
Why am I the UFO expert?
You are, man. It's
Why can't Ori be
you.
a
You
UFO
can't
expert?
choose the
It
UFO.
chooses me.
You.
You,
Yeah.
you don't choose the UFO expert life. It chooses you.
Yeah. So, as the resident UFO expert, what's going on here? Please explain, because this is pretty big news.
Well, I'm going to start off, Sammy, by asking a question, a simple question, which is something I do a lot to you on this program.
Yes.
Do you believe in not necessarily UFOs, but do you believe in do you believe there's something else out there in the universe?
I don't know. I mean, there's gotta be. I mean, somewhere. I mean, I don't know. It's too big.
I think there
It's
is
the
something. I don't
universe.
know.
There's gotta
I
be.
don't know. I think it might be microscopic. I think it might be maybe just like a bug that's like very
Yeah.
small, but
So that's what they're doing on Mars, right? They're looking for maybe some little microscopic things.
yeah, but I think there's definitely some other life form out there.
There's gotta be, yeah.
I don't know if they fly UFOs, like saucer UFOs. I don't know if they're and you know what else also gets me?
What?
Everybody thinks like when you hear aliens, everyone thinks aliens are so much more like technologically advanced than humans. Now, what if aliens are technologically advanced in some ways, but in others they're way behind? So like they have the technology to like live on Mars, right? Or like they have the technology to live in space, right?
Yeah.
But they don't have the technology to live on Earth. They can't do it. They don't have phones. They don't have like cellular data towers. But so I don't get it. They don't have ray guns. Like I
No.
don't get why people always just are so quick to assume that aliens are more technologically advanced than humans.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we should ask Baker Mayfield because he seems like
Baker Mayfield should be our UFO expert. He is a way
yeah,
better UFO
you
expert
gotta
than us.
bring Baker Mayfield on the show and get him to talk about UFOs.
Now,
Well,
speaking of UFOs, Sammy, something that kind of looks like a UFO is located. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know where I'm going with this?
I have a feeling you're going with maybe the Soldier Field spaceship.
That is not where I was going,
Oh,
Sammy. That's a little
okay.
bit of your Chicago bias coming in. I was talking about the Seattle Space Needle, Sammy.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's fair. I think if the little top part of it flew off, I think it could definitely be mistaken for a UFO. So
It definitely could. And the Seattle Space Needle is home in Seattle, obviously, and they are home to the Seattle Seahawks, who are going through a little bit of a pickle right now.
they are, and pickle for Seattle and for the Bears and Raiders, I would call it very exciting because these are the two teams that I think are willing to possibly pay the price for Russell Wilson and because those were two of the teams on his list. The other ones, you got the Saints, who are in a very weird money spot. I don't know if they'd be able to field what they'd be getting of the Russell Wilson contract. And the Cowboys, the other team on the list, Dak Prescott's their quarterback. I don't think they're going to, not sign Dak and get Russell Wilson. I think they want to stick with Dak. And, for Russell Wilson, Bears or Raiders, or of course staying in Seattle. And, honestly, at this point, if he gets traded, I feel like it's going to be to Chicago because we've been seeing they are desperate for a quarterback. I mean, all these other teams have quarterback options. The Bears don't. Nick Foles, in the eyes of Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, is not an option to be the starter next year. I could not even see that. Trubisky, that ship has kind of already sailed. I don't think he's going to be playing in Chicago. I think there's no chance that he's going to be playing in Chicago next year. And I think the Bears are desperate. You look at Las Vegas, not Oakland, as I did make that mistake last week with the Raiders. They got a quarterback, Derek Carr. And yeah, they're willing to give him up maybe and in a scenario where they would get Russell Wilson. But I think they're still holding out hope, and they're maybe going to build around Carr as opposed to giving up everything that they have, first-round picks, everything, for Russell Wilson. And another thing for the Bears that I think is encouraging is you haven't really gotten too many good first-round picks in your past few. We haven't had a first-round pick in a long time because of the Mac trade.
Did you say the last
last
first
few
round pick that you hit on was Roquan
Yeah.
Smith?
That's the last one. No, we haven't had a first-round pick since Roquan Smith
Really?
because of the Khalil Mack trade.
Yeah.
And even before that, I mean, we drafted Kevin White, who is one of the biggest busts ever at the wide receiver position. It was embarrassing. We drafted him at 7, and he hardly plays a game for us. So Ryan Pace does not have a good history with the first round. However, he's doing really good lately in these later rounds. Darnell Mooney and Jalen Johnson, two of our best players, were later round draft picks. So I think the Bears are more than willing to give up picks, which the Seahawks are obviously looking for, and they have assets defensively that they would also be willing to give up. I think Kyle Fuller would be in a trade, our star cornerback. I'd hate to see him go, but it's Russell Wilson we're talking about, and possibly even Akeem Hicks. And all of this begs the question, and I'll ask you as a because you're a Giants fan, you're not really involved in the situation. How much would you give to get a Russell Wilson caliber quarterback? Like, what are you giving up?
I'd give anything. I'd give 3 first-round picks and a good, solid player. I'd give a lot. Because that's what it's going to take. I'd give what it takes. I think Russell Wilson is a transcendent talent. And if you're the Bears, if you're the Raiders, maybe I don't give as much. Maybe I don't make that trade. I don't think that trade makes sense for the Raiders, really, because Russell Wilson is not young. And, he still can have like a good 8 to 10 years left in him. But
I mean, who
his
knows?
play style, especially, I think this trade makes the most sense for the Bears just because they're a pre-built championship team. If Russell Wilson comes there,
well,
they have solid weapons, especially if they retain Allen Robinson, and they have a great defense. So if Russell Wilson does go to Chicago, I think that's a Super Bowl contender team immediately.
I love the sound of that. And Russell Wilson has gotten, if you've listened to this show for a while, you know how much I love Russell Wilson. I mean, he is one of my favorite players, and he's not even on the Bears. I mean, I'll tell you, if he gets traded, if that happens, with one, he would automatically be the greatest quarterback in Bears history as soon as he got traded.
Oh, what? I thought Jay Cutler was.
He'd be the best quarterback in history, which I think the Bears would be willing to give up anything to get that. And I would be copying that jersey immediately.
Really? Did you just say copying?
Copying.
Yeah, I think you meant copying, but I think you said copying.
I did not say. It sounded like that. Maybe it broke up. I said copying.
I don't think you said copying. I think you said copying.
I said copying. I meant to say copying. I did not say copying.
Sammy, I'm pretty sure you said copying, but
I guess we can argue all day.
Sammy, a specific team that just copped themselves a new starting pitcher, the Houston Astros signed Jake Odorizzi to a 2-year deal. probably the best free agent left on the market. Definitely the best free agent
Yeah,
left on the market, I would say.
without a
Would
doubt.
you, would you say that's fair?
Yeah, without a doubt. After, I mean, I think there was maybe before Jackie Bradley got signed, which we should also talk about. There was a maybe argument to be had for Jackie Bradley, but I think it was really Jake Odorizzi, and he is now a member of the Houston Astros. And there were a lot of teams I think that were very interested in this for a long time. I think you could probably think of maybe even 10 teams that were thinking about bringing in Jake Odorizzi. The Astros get him, and Jake Odorizzi is kind of an interesting guy because he doesn't really throw that hard. He doesn't have the best stuff you've ever seen, but he strikes out batters. In 2019, his last full season, he struck out a lot of guys. He was like 70, 80 percentile in terms of strikeouts. And for a guy, like I said, that doesn't throw that hard, doesn't have the best breaking stuff, it shows you that he is incredible with his control. He knows how to command the strike zone. And that's a guy I want in that rotation, especially with young talent like Framber Valdez. I mean, not only do you get a guy who's going to perform for you and get you production, but I think Valdez is a guy that struggled a little bit with the walks, and he has great stuff, kind of the opposite. And if you get a guy like Odorizzi, maybe teach him some tricks, and you could be developing some of that young talent. And this Astros rotation now all of a sudden isn't all that bad because with no Verlander, obviously, it's not as good as it would have been. But Valdez, I think, could be a good ace. I think he has the upside to be. He has, when you look at his StatCast stuff, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous how good he was last year. And Jake Odorizzi could kind of be Mr. Consistent, come in there, get you 5-6 innings every outing. And I think this is a pretty, at least the top of this rotation, is pretty well built. And you also have guys like Forrest Whitley, not sure how to pronounce that, who could be coming up through the system potentially.
Forrest Whitley actually just underwent a strain of some sort in his UCL, and I think Tommy John is the probable
Oh,
outcome of this,
that's rough.
which
Well,
is very scary for
no Forrest
Astros
Whitley.
pitchers.
I do.
Forrest Whitley is a stud.
Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, but they do have some young talent, and but I think the front end of this rotation is not that bad anymore. And obviously, you have the offensive power, right? With the Astros, you lost Springer, but you still have Altuve, who is still good, even though maybe not as so much last year. You still got Bregman, who's one of the best third basemen in baseball, like it or not. You still got Correa, who's one of the best shortstops in baseball. This is still a good team, a team that wants to win the AL West, and a team that wants to make a run in the playoffs, which they can do. I mean, the Astros finished sub 500 last year, and they were second to the AL pennant. It's ridiculous. So this is always a team that I think is going to be competitive, and this Odorizzi move is something I really like for them, and it's going to make them all the more competitive. It's tough for a lot of the teams that missed out on it. Jack, you were talking about before the show, the Angels kind of seemed like the favorites to land Odorizzi, and then they don't. And he lands in their division to make it even worse. Can the Angels win that division? Is there a chance? Because they do have one of the best duos in baseball in Rendon and Trout. But the pitching is a huge, huge question mark. Can they win the AL West? Is there a possibility of that happening?
I'd say there's a better chance of the Angels being in fourth place than first place in the AL West.
Yeah, that's sad to me, isn't it? I mean, because
It is. It is.
Trout and Rendon. Oh my God! I mean, that's insane.
It's
Two
just like, come
top
on. It's
10
like
players in baseball.
everybody wants to see. Can you imagine Trout in the playoffs? Like that's something everybody wants to see. And I don't know if we're ever going to get that. And that is a very sad fact. A player who has already been in the playoffs. In fact, he's won a ring and he is only 22, I think. Juan Soto Juan Soto was dealing with a little bit of an injury problem, Sammy. He had to be taken off the field, but I think he was fine towards the end. I'm not really sure what's going on. Sammy, do you have any update on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to find a video clip for all day of this. It happened today as we're recording, March 8th. But Jack texted our group chat, our chatter from the cheap seats group chat, and let's see, it looks like.
By the way,
Pull this up.
I have a little bit of an incentive for people. If you can get 10 of your friends to subscribe to Chatter from the Cheap Seats on YouTube with proof, you can join our group chat. That's all I'm going to say.
Incentive. That's exciting.
That's an incentive. You should see some of the stuff Ori puts in there. It is wild. No, I'm kidding. Ori basically never texts. It's just me and Sammy arguing about baseball, and then Ori's like every hour or so, he's like, "Shut up."
Yeah, but so Juan Soto earlier today fouled a ball straight off the ground and into the left side of his head, which is a scary thing. But it does seem like he was able to walk afterwards, and he's fine. But whenever you get something to the head, right, even with your helmet on, even if it doesn't really seem like it hits much, that is very scary because, that can mess you up long term. I mean, like if you sprain your ankle or whatever, that'll be unfortunate for a few weeks, but then you'll be over it. Head injuries are not like that. So you want to take precautions, especially in spring training, right? You don't want to miss any time with Soto. I mean, for the Nationals, not having Juan Soto for the first few weeks of last year really hurt them. And we're going to have an 162 game season, but you do not want to miss any time with Juan Soto because he is arguably the best hitter in baseball, and you don't want to risk losing that for any period of time if you're the Nationals, who are looking to be a competitive team. And speaking of spring training, Jack, I'm sorry, it looks like I was off the mic a little bit. I'm gonna have you guess, and obviously no one really cares about the spring training stats too much, but just to kind of give you guys some updates on how some people are doing, Jack is gonna guess who's leading both Grapefruit and Cactus League.
Oh God!
Home runs, RBIs, and pitching strikeouts.
All right. Okay, say that one more time. Hits,
right.
home runs.
We'll go.
Okay, so we're starting off with hits.
Starting off with hit. Yeah, and I'll give you 3 questions, right?
Yeah, give me 3. Give me, I think 5 questions because I mean, spring training stats are so random. It could be someone. Is there do you have to be qualified? Is there a certain amount of at bats that you need?
I believe so. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it didn't look like it was. But all these are totals.
Yeah, I realized I realized that was stupid when it came out of my mouth. Okay, so, give me 5 questions. I think that's fair.
All right, I'll give you 5. You might be able to get it in less than that.
Let's see. Let's see on the first one.
High, but it's one of them's a pretty.
Okay. Cactus League.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they in?
90% sure it's Cactus.
Are they in now? Is it? But the Cactus isn't. Is every NL team play in the Cactus League and every AO team play in the Grapefruit League, or is that not the case?
No. It's just kind of random. It's kind of, I think, geographically based.
Okay. I'll say, is the team in the NL?
It is a team in the National League. Yeah.
Is it a team in the NL Central?
It is not a team in the NL Central.
That's 3. I'll say. So it's either the NL.
I'll give you this. Both these guys are in the same division. One of them's kind of like a renowned talent. One of them is kind of a prospect.
Is it the NL East?
Not the NL East.
Okay, so I know it's the NL West.
Yeah.
Now it's been 4 guesses, so I have to give my final guess here. Okay, let me think. Is it? Okay, a couple names that are coming to mind. Jared Kelenic is one. Obviously, you got to think of Trout.
Trout's not in the AL West. All right, Trout's in the AL, not NL.
I was thinking of the NL West. Yeah, so never mind.
We're in the NL, not the AL.
Yeah, all the names I was saying just completely.
Oh yeah, Kelenic's on the Mariners. Yeah.
No. Yeah, completely forget about everything I just said. Okay, let me think. Now, Sammy, I know you well, so I have to imagine that this guy is on the Cubs. Okay, because I don't know. I think you brought it up because you want to gloat about the Cubs.
No,
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say this person is not on the Pirates.
Well, it's.
Oh, I know who it is. I know who it is. Is it Christian? Is it Christian Yelich?
We're in the NL West, so
we're in the NL West. I was looking up the NL Central. Okay, I thought we were okay. I'm stupid. I'm
All right.
stupid.
Hey, you still got to punch in your final guess. Though.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna
Got to punch
make
in the
an
final.
educated guess here and say the person is either on the Dodgers or the Padres. Now, obviously Tatis could be an option. Obviously Mookie Betts could be an option, but I don't think those guys are playing enough to lead the league in hits. I think it's someone that's probably a well-renowned player, but maybe not a star. So, oh God, I'm gonna say I know I need to give a final guess soon. I'm gonna say Max Muncy.
No, it is Ketel Marte.
Ketel Marte.
Yeah,
God,
which I think he was actually my MVP pick last year. Did not work out.
it's your
And,
MVP
also,
pick. Jeez,
was
Sammy.
yeah, bro. And Jason Vossler, third baseman, San Francisco. I hadn't really heard of him, to be honest. All right, home runs. Now this one is definitely someone.
Can you tell me the number of home runs that this person hit?
They've had 4 home runs so
Okay.
far in spring training, and hits it was 8 hits.
Okay. Okay. So we'll just start off with that. Okay.
All right, and
First
this is one
question.
tie, not a tie.
Yeah. First question. Is this person in the NL?
No.
Is this person in the AL East?
Nope.
Is this person in the AL Central?
No.
Okay. So, God, I'm getting very unlucky. I have 2 guesses left. The
Yeah,
person's in the
that's
AL
unfortunate.
West. The person's in the AL West. Home runs. It could be Kalenic. I know he hit that massive bomb, but I don't know if that was just one. Shohei Ohtani. Okay, I'm gonna say, is this person on? Oh, this is a fantastic question. Fantastic question. Does the team that the person's play for, does the first letter start with an A?
No.
Okay, that's a fantastic question, Sammy. Now I know the person's either on the Rangers or the Mariners.
Right. So you have what? One more guess? Yeah.
Well, I think I have 5 questions and then a guess. So I think that's fair.
Well, I don't make the rules. You just
Yeah, I'm making the rules as I go along. I'm gonna guess one more time.
All right.
Okay. I'll just say, is this person on the Mariners?
No.
Rangers. Okay, here we go. Rangers.
Dude,
Obviously, Joey Gallo is the big name that comes to mind, but I feel like Joey Gallo again might not have played enough. But screw it for time's sake. I'm gonna go Joey Gallo.
And Jack is victorious. It is Joey Gallo.
Here we go. Give a Sammy double fist bump here.
Double fist bump. Yeah, Joey Gallo. And, he's a guy who, of course he's leading home runs. And, yeah, he has 4 home runs, which in only, a week? That's kind of crazy. And not many at bat, I would imagine. So, so 3 guys are tied for the RBI league, right?
Okay, how many RBIs is it?
It is 8 RBIs. And I'll give you one. One is Joey Gallo.
Okay.
When you think about it, home runs.
Okay, I'm gonna guess.
2 other guys.
I'm gonna guess Joey Gallo.
Well, I told you that, so
that's my guess. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
All right, 2 other guys. Let's see if Jack
is this player in the NL.
One of them is not.
Very helpful. Yeah. Is this player in the AL East?
Neither of them. No.
Is this player in the Central AL? Wait, is this player in the AL Central?
One of them's in the NL Central.
Okay, that's okay. That's 3 questions. Yeah.
Yes.
NL Central RBIs is just such a
It's a weird stat. It is.
It's not. Yeah.
Don't go looking it up either.
I'm not. I'm just looking up the NL Central, so I know what teams are in there, just so I don't forget.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Does this person play for a team that starts with the letter C?
No.
Okay. Pirates. I'm gonna eliminate the Pirates. Brewers or Reds. Eugenio Suarez comes to mind. I'm gonna say Christian Yelich.
It is not Yelich.
Who is it?
You want me to give you the NL Central one?
Yeah.
It is Gregory Polanco. For Pirates. Jack, you shouldn't have ruled out. Don't sleep on the Bucks.
I don't have that many guesses. I gotta make educated guesses. Okay.
All right, and, you got one more. And do you want me to give you a hint here?
Yeah. Well, what is this for? Oh, this is for the AL.
Yeah, he's in the AL.
Okay.
I'll,
He's in the yeah. Give me a hint.
he he's a first baseman. I'll give you that.
He's a first baseman.
He is a baseman,
Okay.
and he's better than the last player I mentioned, Polanco. He's
Better than Polanco.
definitely better than Polanco. I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I.
Oh God.
And at home, everyone, you should be guessing too. Be thinking here.
Yeah.
I hear you, but all right.
Is it? Is it? Is it Matt Olson?
Wow,
Can I
Jack.
tell you why how I knew that? So I knew it was in the AL Central or in the AL West because I knew obviously from my previous round that it wasn't in the AL East or the AL Central, but I knew it was in the AL. And you said first baseman, and I'm just thinking, who's the best first baseman in the AL West? And it's Matt Olson. Yeah.
No question, Olson. Yeah, so that is good. All right, now we got pitching strikeouts. Now this might be a little more difficult. Now I'll tell you, there are 3 guys.
This is the last one, right?
Yeah, this is the last one.
Okay.
You could guess maybe one of them, 2 of them, if you can. So one of them you'll be very happy to hear. I'll
Okay. I'm gonna say, does this player play for the Yankees?
He does. He's on the Yankee spring training team.
Is it okay? It's not Garrett Cole. It could be Jamison Tyone. I don't think it's Jamison Tyone. I don't know. I don't think it's Corey Kluber because he only pitched 2. It might be Corey Kluber because I know he got like a large amount of strikeouts. It could be Domingo Herman. It's either Corey Kluber. Oh, it's Montgomery, Jordan Montgomery.
No, it is not.
Is it Domingo Herman?
It's a guy that I don't think is going to be on your. I don't think he's I think he's a prospect.
Really? Prospect, or
I mean, I don't know much about him. I think he's pretty young though, so he's not going to be on your team.
Is he a starting pitcher?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. But I don't know too much about him.
Huh? Who got starts? I mean, I don't think we've had any prospects.
I mean, he could be a reliever though. I'm not 100% on that.
Is it thought it'd be a starter. Is it it's not any high leverage guys. Could be Nick Nelson, who's a reliever. Could be
I'll say this. I had not heard of this guy.
Is it okay? Does his name start with a Luis? Is his first name Luis?
His first name isn't Luis. Well, it does start with an L.
Does start with an L. Okay, there's so many Luises. His name starts with an L. Well, why am I blanking on this? Oh, I feel like an idiot. Mind fart.
All right, I okay.
You look up if he's a starting pitcher.
All right, I digress. He's 33 years old, so he's not a prospect. I not heard of him.
He's a starting pitcher though?
It's I don't know if he started, but he's playing very well this spring. Obviously, leading in strikeouts.
I feel like I know. Does his last name start with an L?
Yes.
Is it Letke?
Yeah, Lucas Litchi.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I had. When I said Luis, I knew it was Lucas. I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I don't think he's going to make the Yankees team, but they're definitely on his radar. I just think it's because, I think Nick Nelson will get the last spot in the bullpen over him. But I definitely can see. No, I'm not sure exactly. I think he might be, but I think they're definitely going to stash him in AAA, and I think there will be injuries, and he will pitch innings for the Yankees this year. I think that's safe to say.
I had not heard of him, so that is my apologies for
Sammy,
that.
we spent a lot of time talking about the AL West today in this segment. Let's move on now to the AL Central, where we have our previews and predictions. Sammy, in 5th place in the AL Central, I have the Detroit Tigers. I had them going 65-96. This should not be a surprise to anybody. They have some big prospects. They have Spencer Torkelson, one of the best players from last year's draft. played in spring training. He'll start the season in the minors, but he will be on their radar. However, their pitching prospects are sort of on the verge of coming up, and they don't have enough MLB talent to actually compete this season. So I don't think this is a shock to anybody.
I would agree with that. I so they do have some of those pitching prospects that have been really touted for a long time, kind of starting to come into fruition. You got Casey Mize looking like he's going to start on the team, and Tariq Skubal looking like he's going to start on the team. Two extremely fun guys to watch. And then you got guys like Matt Boyd, who's going to be heading up that rotation, who is by no means an ace, but is pretty underrated in terms of general, like how people perceive him to be as a pitcher. I mean, he had some really good statistics his last full year in 2019. So, not a horrible rotation. Like they're not a bad rotation. I don't think I'd want to say. Maybe definitely below average, I'd say, but definitely a lot of good pitching prospects. It's encouraging, but you got no offense, and that's my issue with this team. I mean, with pitching not great, you're gonna have to have some huge production offensively, and they're just not. I mean, Candelario had a great year last year, former Cub, so I like to see him play well. But besides that, you look around the field, and there aren't too many guys that are going to be producing for the Tigers, and that's the bottom line. I have them winning only 58 games. I was kind of brutal to Detroit. I'm sorry, but it's just not your
Wow,
time
very
yet.
brutal.
It's not your time yet, Tigers. But sooner than later, they will be a good team again. Like they're not a team. I'm like, ugh, they're in a horrible situation. I don't know what they're gonna do. No, they're in a very good situation. I think they're gonna be looking to grab another high draft pick after this season. And during this season as well with the first year player draft or whatever. And you got a lot of exciting prospects, great farm system. You're just not there yet. You're not at that point in the process. So, good team, or not a good team, but good future for the Tigers. Not right now, though.
Good future. I think that's a safe thing to say. And going on to my number fourth team in the division, I have the Kansas City Royals. They have some big pitching prospects and Chris Bubich, who is pretty much the big guy. I had them going 71 and 91. Now, you might say that's kind of low because their offense is pretty good with guys like Jorge Soler and Andrew Benintendi. However, their division is pretty tough. So that's why I have them with only 71 wins and 91 losses.
All right. Well, I'm higher significantly, I'd say, on the Royals than you are. I have the Royals winning 80 games, 80 wins for the Royals, just below the 500 mark. And I wanted to put them in third place, but I could not put them above these top three teams just yet. But there's a lot of good stuff going on. The pitching, kind of similar with the Tigers, not great, but I'd say it's good enough to keep you near 500 if you have a good offense. And guess what? You have a very good offense. Salvador Perez was, I'd say, the best catcher in baseball last year, if we're talking about swinging the bat. And you got some really underrated guys on this team. That's the bottom line. Santana, he didn't have a great year production-wise last year, but he probably takes better at bats than almost anybody else in the league of baseball. I could think of a few guys maybe that take better at bats than him, maybe like Rizzo, maybe like Harper. That's it. He's right up there with those guys in terms of drawing walks and taking good at bats. And he also, when he's on, hits the ball pretty hard. So I'm expecting for him to be really good. I think that was a great acquisition this offseason. Obviously, you got Benintendi. That was a more recent thing. I'm not in love with Benintendi. I'll be honest. I don't love how he's been so far, but he was such a important prospect for the Red Sox that I would not be surprised if this new environment in Kansas City helps him turn his career back around. You got some fast guys too. This is going to be a good base running team. At Alberto Mondesi, who was a little cold towards the end of last year, but great base runner no matter what. Michael A. Taylor, who's pretty fast, and Whit Merrifield. Love Whit Merrifield. This guy should get talked about way more than he gets talked about. He's up there for being one of the best contact hitters in baseball. He's not there with LeMahieu yet, but he is right in that conversation. and he's been doing it for a while. He led the league in hits like 2 or 3 times. So he's really good. This is an offense that's very well constructed. And I haven't even talked about Jorge Soler, who former Cub also. Love Jorge Soler. And he led the league in home runs in 2019. So
He
this
did.
is the AL. So he was incredible that year. So this is a good offense. Top 15, top 10, maybe, depending on how things go. Pitching staff isn't great. This team is going to finish near 500, and they're not that bad. People are sleeping on the Royals. I like the Royals a lot, and they're a team that next year, I think, with a few good moves, could really make an impact. We'll just have to see. But right now, 80 and 82 for Kansas City. I like this team.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I'm going to go on now to my third place
This is
team.
where it
I
gets a little
have,
more interesting.
yeah, yeah. I have the Minnesota Twins at 83 and 79.
Ooh, okay.
Now,
I'll hear you out here. I don't agree, but
now I
hear
don't think you would agree. And yes, the Minnesota Twins have been better than that in as of late. However, I'm looking at their team and, they got 5 really good hitters: Max Kepler, Luis Reyes, Josh Donaldson, Nelson Cruz, Miguel Sano. Now, Nelson Cruz is an absolute beast, but he's like 50 years old. So there's always the risk that he pulls something happens to him, right? After that,
I very
Alex
agree with you.
Kurloff, Byron Buxton, Ryan Jeffers, Andrelton Simmons. Andrelton Simmons and Byron Buxton are outstanding defenders, but they're not going to give you much, if anything, from the offensive side of the I was going to say the ball, but then I realized that this isn't football, so the field. Now, the reason why I had them so low, Sammy, is because of their starting pitching. Jose Barrios is he has really nasty stuff, but he's never really been able to put it together for that ace-like season,
He's not your ace.
I realize that. Kenta Maeda, who is getting up there in age also,
Yeah.
and, he's a good pitcher. I'll give them that. But I think Jose Barrios is a good number 2, but there's always the potential. He's sort of like his stats aren't as good as his stuff kind of guy. Michael Pineda, I don't think is a good number 3. He's just so inconsistent. His good looks so good, but his bad looks so bad. J Happ at number 4. You already know how I feel about him being a Yankee fan, Sammy. And Matt Shoemaker at number 5. I don't like their looks of their rotation, really.
Okay. I very much disagree with you on the Twins. And I don't think the Twins are going to be quite as good as they were. I think with the White Sox being as good as they are, not to spoil anything for later in my predictions, but with the White Sox being as good as they are, I think it will be a little harder for them to maintain one of the best teams in the AL sort of thing. But they're still a really good team. I mean, you look at this team all around, and it's hard to knock them down. Donaldson is great. Simmons, incredible acquisition for a team that isn't too great defensively. He's one of the best defenders ever. So that's obviously a very good acquisition. And Jack was just kind of throwing Byron Buxton out. That hurts me because I've been really thinking about this week, preparing for these AL Central predictions. And
Well, Sammy,
he's got to.
Just go when you get to the Twins. Talk about Byron Buxton, but just go to your third place team now, and then we can talk about the Twins later.
I'll wait Byron. Okay, I'll wait on Byron Buxton, but
save the best for last.
All right, I'll wait on Byron Buxton for now. I'll talk about him in a little bit, but I will now be talking about my third place team, which is Cleveland. I have the Indians in third, and this is a team that it tears me apart a little bit because they do have a lot of potential with this rotation. It could be one of the best. For all we know, Shane Bieber had an incredible year. I talked about a few weeks ago how he could be a little bit overrated. And then you got back end of the rotation with guys like Tristan McKenzie, who kind of came up towards the end of last year, who I'm very excited for. He kind of got hit pretty hard in spring training the other day, but I'm very excited to see what he does. He's been one of the most highly touted prospects in that organization for a reason. I think he could be a very exciting piece. But offensively, you got issues. You lost your best player in Francisco Lindor, And Jack is kind of implying that the Indians are going to get better than they were last year, by losing Lindor, and then before that you lost Clevenger, and I mean they've been really regressing. And this is a team that looks to me like they're heading towards a rebuild sooner rather than later, because they do have some pieces I like. Ramirez is obviously MVP material. Love Ramirez. He's fun to watch. Another guy who's super underrated is Friendmill Reyes. He hasn't really figured out the strikeouts yet. That's an issue for him, but he is a huge human being. And if he could figure out the strikeouts, I mean, that guy knows how to hit a baseball. He could turn into one of the best hitters in the AL in terms of power. And they also lost Santana, which I talked about with the Royals, and that hurts you because I think Santana, although he had a down year, was great in 2019. So this team just doesn't scream that great to me. They're 81 and 81. They're third place, not horrible, but in terms of that World Series core that they got to the World Series in 2016, that won the AL pennant, it's dwindled away. It's gone. And I think now they kind of have to start, going back up, getting prospects, stuff like that. So we'll just have to see. But I don't think the Indians are that good of a team. And I'll let Jack talk about the Indians now because I assume that he has them in second place. There's no way Jack has the Indians in first, to me.
I understand that this is a hot take, and I have them in second place. I have them winning 85 games, going 85 and 77.
It's not outrageous. It's only
I
4.
understand this is a hot take, but if I just look at the Indians rotation, it is so good. Shane Bieber, Zach Plesac, Aaron Savelli, Tristan McKenzie, who's a big prospect,
Yeah, I love
and Logan Allen. And their bullpen is very good also with Karen Check. And pitching wins games, and they have pitching. That's the one thing that the Indians have always been able to do, develop pitching. And that's why I have them in second place. Their lineup is still good. Jose Ramirez is an MVP type player. Cesar Hernandez is a really good player. Eddie Rosario is one of the
overrated.
most underrated players in baseball. Are you kidding me? Eddie Rosario is so underrated.
Well, I
He
mean, if you look at his
consistently.
baseball reference, it's kind of like I think he's good, but I just don't know. I mean, I don't think this offense is good at all.
I mean, Eddie Rosario is coming off of a decent year, 792 OPS, but Eddie Rosario has put up from 2017 to 2019 three straight seasons with an OPS over 800. In 2017, he had an 836 OPS. He hit 27 home runs. Then in 2018, he had an 803 OPS, and in 2019, he had an 800 OPS, and in 2020, he had a 792 OPS. So he's a consistent guy. I really like Eddie Rosario. I think Josh Naylor is gonna have a breakout year. I like Franmil Reyes. I really like Jake Bowers. I think that this team is going to turn some heads. But Sammy, who is your second place team?
Yeah, so here I got the Minnesota Twins, and I already kind of started with Minnesota, and I like this team. I was telling you, I have them winning. Let's see, 91 games. I have them with 91 wins. I think Maeda, one of the more underrated aces in the league. He's really, really good. Had a great year last year. The age is a little bit of an issue, but for me, I look at that as he's been consistent for a long time. I can count on that if he stays healthy. And that's an if, but we're assuming things here. We have to assume that all these teams can stay healthy. And offensively, I let me get back to Byron Buxton here because that's kind of where I left off before Jack stopped me. And Jack was kind of just like forgetting about him, just like, oh yeah, he's going to put up subpar offensive numbers. He has put up an 800 plus OPS for the past 2 seasons now. Last year was his best year, although it was a 60-game season. 844 in the OPS department. And Byron Buxton, who before was a guy who you thought of, yeah, he plays center field better than a lot of people, and he can run the bases very well. But now he has that power, he has the hitting, he has brought that to the table, and that is huge. And they have lost some pieces over the years, but I think with Sano, a good power threat, Buxton, who's kind of emerging as this 5-tool star, I think he could be. The Twins are not a bad team by any means. I still really like the Twins. Rotation, not great. There's nothing special about it. But when you're comparing them to the Indians and the other teams in this division, they're better than those other teams. I mean, there's no question to me that the Twins are significantly better than the Cleveland Indians. I mean, the rotation is definitely a few pegs behind, but their offense far surpasses what Cleveland can do. Not to mention that I think base running, stealing bases and also fielding for the Twins, though it's upgraded with Andrelton Simmons in the defense department, and you got Buxton, who's like I talked about already, great at roaming center field and a good base runner. So the Twins are a good team. I don't see too many issues with them besides some question marks with the pitching, but I like them. But first place, Jack and I are in agreement here, and this is a team that is really accelerating. They're really good. They had a great offseason once again, and this team is the Chicago White Sox, and I have them winning 95 games. And
Wow.
high or low?
That is high.
High.
That
really?
is very, very high. Gee,
Really? I don't think that's
95 games. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, White Sox aren't that bad of a team, man. I mean, I hate to say it, but at
I don't
this
think they're
point,
bad. I mean, obviously, I have them in first place. I just think I don't know. They're a little bit. They haven't done it yet for a full 162, and I think you got to take that into account.
they haven't, but I mean, they're going to. I mean, they in
That's an
2018,
opinion,
they're a much different team now than they were the last time we had a full season.
and that's true.
That's a huge factor. I mean, this is a top five, I think arguably, maybe not even top five rotation. You have Giolito, one of your better aces in the league.
And also, don't get me wrong. I have them winning a plenty of games too. So I'm not saying they're bad.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas Keuchel, Lance Lynn, and back end not too great, but I mean, those three guys at the front, maybe besides like the Padres, Dodgers, and maybe like the Yankees, depending on how things work out. I take that front three in the rotation above almost any front three. And maybe throw the Braves in there as well. And this offense is incredible. Grandal, he had a great 2019, not as great of a 2020, but he's a good player. He's going to produce AL MVP and Jose Abreu. You got Yoel Nakata, who can really hit very well. Anderson, who is a bit overrated, I believe. I think Javi Baez is still the best shortstop in Chicago, but Anderson, he hits for average. He has that high batting average on balls in play, BABIP, but he figures it out. He's been doing it his whole career. He's going to do it again. You got Luis Robert, who had a kind of disappointing rookie year, but he's a star. Just look at him. He hits for incredible power. He runs faster than most other guys in the league, to be honest. He fields center field like a god. He's going to be incredible. Eloy Jimenez, I mean, the White Sox are an exciting team, and they're exciting because I don't like the White Sox. I'm a Cubs fan. I don't want them to be the better team in Chicago, but as it stands right now, I believe that they are the best team in Chicago, and I don't think there's too much of a question about that. The Cubs have the upside to maybe take them over as that, but in terms of the AL Central, they are the champions. I have them winning 95 games. White Sox are a really, really good team.
Don't get me wrong. I have them winning 90 games. I have them going 90-72. They're a fantastic game. Luis Robert kind of fell off in the second half of the season, but their lineup is good. Their rotation is good. Their bullpen is good. They are a well-rounded team, and that is why I have them in first place, Sammy.
Yeah, I forgot about Liam Hendricks. I didn't even talk about him.
Liam Hendricks,
arguably their biggest acquisition.
Arguably their biggest acquisition.
I mean, either him or Lance Lynn.
I'd say Lance Lynn is bigger just because he's going to impact the game more. But Sammy, that was stupid of you. That was dumb of you. Wouldn't you say?
Dumb of me
to forget Liam Hendricks. Wouldn't you say?
I don't think. I just
Sammy, go with it. It was dumb with you. It was dumb of you, right? Some would say Jack's dumb Twitter take.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Worthy. Yeah.
Jack, very, very.
So today we have on Jack's dumb Twitter take at BRob NFL tweeting. And this is recent, Sammy. This is from 2021. And this hits close to home from you. As of 30 minutes ago, the hashtag Bears have the top offer out for Carson Wentz. Unless another team comes over to the top Wentz,
Yeah.
will be headed to
Yep.
Chicago. Wentz will be headed to Chicago. Bigger offer than most have expected. Bidding war will do that.
Yeah. I mean,
Now, are
that's
you happy about this or sad?
I'm so happy, man. I mean, I love the fact that like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was like sure that Carson Wentz would be our quarterback, and now Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, the Bears like are kind of seeming like the favorites for both of those guys. So I am like, things have turned around for the better offseason wise for the Bears. But yeah, I mean, I remember when that report came out, it was like I was in the car and I saw it and I was like, oh no, we're gonna trade for Wentz. Oh my god, this is horrible.
You said,
What are
"Oh
we
no,
doing?" I said, "Oh no," and I like Wentz, but like,
you don't love Wentz. You
I
like
don't
him,
love
it's
Wentz.
fun, but you don't love him." Now let's talk,
I'm a
Sammy.
little concerned. Yeah,
Let's talk, Sammy, about some guys that you love. You love them. NBA All Star Steph Curry. You love Steph Curry, right? You love LeBron James.
who
You
doesn't?
love Zach Levine. And we're
Yeah,
going to talk about them All Star game in review. We're going to start off in the skills contest. What did you make of the skills contest?
I thought it was I mean, like, I thought it was kind of funny that like I would not have. I mean, Sabonis, I guess, he was the finalist last year, so but Vucevic made it to the finals, right? That
Yeah.
surprised me. So Vucevic is, he went off against the Bulls. I remember, but he's not a guy who you think of as being like the best dribbler. He's always passing on target. Like you think of Vucevic as he is going to shove the ball down your throat, and really Sabonis is kind of the same way. So the fact that those two guys were in the finals for the skills competition kind of makes me laugh, especially like Chris Paul getting knocked out in the first round or whatever. That's just kind of funny to me. Because I mean, Chris Paul was obviously the favorite, right? I mean, he's like the most
Oh my
skilled player
God.
in the NBA.
When he missed that layup, Sammy,
That
that
was
was
bad.
hilarious. That was hilarious. And that wasn't the first time he's done it in the skills competition either.
Oh man, yeah, that was rough. I mean, yeah, skills competition. I mean, I didn't think it was too
It's
entertaining.
not for everybody.
Yeah, but it was I. It was I. But and
It was
then
all right.
All Star or 3-point contest was after that. That's right. Yeah, and I will say that was the best competition, no doubt. 3-point contest this year was really fun to watch. It was really kind of a battle between Conley and Curry.
I wouldn't say it was much of a battle. I mean,
It was.
Curry
Hey,
was,
Curry.
yeah, but at the end, he's just
It
so
came down to
unbelievable.
it came down to that last shot, man. I thought Curry was obviously the huge favorite, but it was kind of cool that like, oh, is Conley gonna upset him here? And I thought it was exciting. I thought it was fun to watch. And Curry, like it was funny. I remember it was like the first like 4 shots in both rounds he missed him. Like he was like banking him or whatever. He couldn't make it. And then all of a sudden he found his rhythm and he would make like
Oh, yeah.
30.
He made like
I mean,
15 in a
that's the
row.
thing. You really see how much rhythm means because once these guys find it, they can just go on, nothing but net for like 20 minutes and they won't even miss. Yeah,
It's
I mean,
fun. It's
Steph
fun to
Curry,
watch.
it really makes you think, right? I mean, Steph Curry is such, like he's so special like he's the best shooter of all time. And
He is. He's the
we
best
are
shooter
we
of
are
all
living
time.
through it. And
Non-arguable. It is non-arguable. It is a fact.
yeah.
But Sammy, now let's talk about the game. I thought the first half was the worst display of basketball I've ever seen. I don't think a single play outside of a three-pointer and an alley-oop was attempted the entire first half.
Yeah, it's like it's like I think of it as the worst basketball you'll ever see good basketball players play. I mean, it's
Pretty fair,
sad.
yeah.
And honestly, like the fact that they had the All-Star game this year is just kind of dumb because of COVID. The players didn't really even want it, and I think they would have just been fine if you give the guys who've been very good their All-Star nod, and you move on. You don't have to have the game. There's no point of having the game. I mean, it was just it's the least competitive basketball you'll ever see. They don't care. It's not exciting at all. I turned it off actually in the third quarter. I had to
Yeah,
go.
I turned it off after the dunk contest,
I yeah,
honestly. It was
I
getting
had
too late for
uh,
me.
yeah, dunk contest. What did you think of the dunk contest? I thought there were some robberies at gunpoint
Oh,
in a lot of departments. I thought Cassius Stanley was robbed the first round.
His second dunk was comical, but his first dunk, yeah, he definitely got robbed.
Yeah, I mean, like that was a great first dunk, and he only got like 44 points for that or something. Like
I mean, the judges are just so inconsistent. It's
yeah.
really unbelievable.
And then the winning dunk from what's his face? I'm totally blanking on his name.
The first dunk from the other guy, not Obi Toppin, or are you talking about Obi Toppin?
I know who Obi Toppin is.
Yeah, the random guy. No one knows his name.
Yeah, I mean, but like
that guy. Let's call him that guy.
That guy, the kiss. I mean, let me go on a small rant. I don't want to go off too much, but like, how does that win the dunk contest?
He didn't kiss it.
Exactly.
He kissed it, and yeah, that's amazing.
But he tried something and he failed.
Exactly.
He did. I mean, like, I don't understand the logic.
Sammy, that is actually perfect logic. When you said he tried something and he failed, that's just like hilarious for me.
He did. I mean, there were some cool dunks that he did for sure, and I like how he paid homage to Tracy McGrady. That was cool. I like that. That was a great dunk. But the one that won it all was like, really? So that's just me. I thought Obi Toppin should have won it, but it was kind of underwhelming. I mean, we're never going to have Michael Jordan, like what, Dominique Wilkins dunk contest ever again.
I wasn't never alive. Happen.
I wasn't alive, but
no, you were not alive.
Legendary.
Yeah, that's legendary, man. The NBA dunk contest was sick. And let's talk about the first half. Let's have a little bit of a first half in review, Sammy. What were some surprises for you? What were some things you enjoyed? What were some things you didn't enjoy about the first half?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. Surprises. I think number one has got to be the Utah Jazz. I think on any list, I had the Jazz as the 8th seed in the West in my predictions. And here they are, the All-Star break, with only 9 losses. The Jazz are a really, really good team. Star-studded. We've been seeing how much of an impact Mike Conley has had, bringing him in. A great defensive team, probably best in the NBA, with Rudy Gobert. Donovan Mitchell is a star. A deep team. They're a fun team to watch. That's been the biggest surprise for me. And then at the 2 seed in the Western Conference, above the defending champion Lakers, who have been suffering without Anthony Davis, the Phoenix Suns, another huge surprise. Which, out of these 2 teams, who's going to finish higher in the standings, the Suns or the Jazz?
I think the Suns the Jazz have more around Donovan Mitchell. They have 2 bona fide stars in Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, all stars. Like, I mean, Devin Booker is a transcendent talent, but I just don't think they have the depth around him.
See, I think the Suns actually might finish higher.
That's fair.
And I think they've been really hot as of late. And they played the Bulls in one of the more exciting games I've watched all year. And this is a well-coached team. And you can tell because the Bulls were up by 15, 16, maybe even 20 points. And then fourth quarter, they come back. And this is a team that is resilient. And I got to tell you, the impact that Chris Paul has had on the Phoenix Suns is just incredible. He has probably been the most impactful acquisition from this past offseason. And you say Devin Booker isn't surrounded. Chris Paul is a star. Miles Bridges is playing like a star, if you ask me.
But can he sustain that?
DeAndre Ayton is a star. I think DeAndre Ayton is much more of a star than Miles Bridges. I don't know.
I'd agree with that.
Bridges. And, they're a pretty deep team. Cameron Johnson has been great from 3-point this year. Jay Crowder has been good. And even guys like Frank Kaminsky, the former college star, playing very well. So the Suns, they're a more exciting team to watch, I think, than the Jazz. I think they're a better offensive team than the Jazz. And I just think they look more to me like a winning team than the Jazz do.
And would you agree with me though that either answer is fine? Like there's
I think it's gonna be the Suns, but both these teams have been so great and fun and kind of shocking, to be honest, this first half. So it's been fun to watch. And I guess shifting gears to the Eastern Conference, a little more, I guess, as we expected it, the Nets are not the 1 seed at the All-Star break, but they're looking to really butt their way in there ASAP. They're 9-1 in their last 10. They're the hottest team in basketball at the All-Star break. Do you think it's going to be the Nets that have the 1 seed at the end of the year, or do you think they're going to stay 2-3 under Philadelphia or maybe even like the Bucks?
They just signed Blake Griffin.
That's right.
I can't see a way in which this team becomes any better. Like, they're gonna get the 1 seed. If they don't have the 1 seed, it's not because of lack of talent.
Yeah. Now, the fun thing for me looking at this first half with the Eastern Conference. So between the 9 seed Chicago Bulls and the 4 seed Boston Celtics, 2 games separate all of them. So, I mean,
It's close.
Usually we'll see these playoff races heat up at the end of the year, but I think right now at the midpoint, this is extremely exciting. I mean, the Boston Celtics in a matter of 2 days could go from the 4 seed to the 9 seed. And the Bulls, you could say the same. They could go to the 4 seed in a few days if they get hot. So I think for the second half, we should all be watching that. Yes, it's not going to be their best, most incredible teams out there, but it's a tight race, and that is exciting for me. All these teams have something to play for. You have teams like the Celtics and the Heat who have been under expectations. They're trying to prove something. And then teams like the Bulls and the Knicks, who weren't supposed to be that good, but are all of a sudden in conversation for a playoff spot. So, for the second half, if I were to pick something to watch that playoff race in the Eastern Conference, because there's a lot that's going to go down, and I'm very excited to watch. I'm sure you are too, as a Knicks fan. I mean, I don't think you were thinking you would have the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference at the All-Star break heading into this year. Much thanks to Julius.
No, there is no part of me that thought we would have the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference at this part of the year. And that is just another surprise. And Sammy, you know what else is a surprise? The fact that it's the end of the show, because we've been having so much fun. We didn't even notice it's the end of the show.
It is. Wow. Hey, time
flies. End of the show. Time flies when you're having fun. Sammy, any last words?
Not too much. Another very fun episode. Loving, all the spring training basketball will be back like Wednesday or Thursday. So from the All-Star break, very excited for all of that. We'll keep you updated with all the NFL offseason stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. You're very cool. I guess if you get 10 subscribers on our YouTube, you could be in our group chat. That's a thing.
That is a thing.
So, that is a thing. So, yeah. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you for listening. That is pretty cool of you to do that.
Isn't it? It's not uncool. It's not uncool.
It is not uncool. No, it is very cool. I think.
Very cool. Thank you guys for listening. See you guys next time on Chatter from the Cheap Seats. Peace.